How you doing? Good.
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Douglas Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, August 14th, 2024, 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Mary Louise Vigil of the Christian Life Center. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to open with a scripture from 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1. I urge you then, first of all, that requests, prayers, and intercessions and thanksgiving be made for everyone, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live in peace and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Mr. Mayor, City Council, members of the community, thank you for this opportunity to come before you and pray. It is dangerous to put a preacher behind a podium and a microphone. And I count it an honor to be here tonight. Let us bow our hearts before the Lord. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with gratitude and thanksgiving, never forgetting to stand in humility and faith before our Creator. We thank you for the many blessings you have given us. During these next few minutes that are given to the business of our beloved Douglas, I ask for your guidance, wisdom, and understanding as decisions are made to govern Douglas. May these decisions bring honor and glory to your name. May they be decisions that will benefit the community as a whole. For you are truly the one who knows what is best for us and what can be accomplished here today. Let it be a vision guided by your Holy Spirit as our leaders embrace it for the betterment of Douglas. Bless this meeting today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pastor Mary Louise, thank you very much. Item number 4, roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewish,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales. Present. Councilmember Jose Montaño,
Here.
Councilmember Dania Acosta,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Here.
Councilmember Michael Montenegro, Councilmember Richard Acosta,
Present.
City Manager Ana Urquijo,
Present.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbons,
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present.
Thank you. And for the record, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Michael Montenegro is excused.
Yes, thank you very much. Item number 5, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Anybody do that? You want to see?
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor.
Please. First, we have Mr. Mitch Lindeman, please.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, council, staff. I'd like to congratulate the winners of the past primary election and wish them well in their endeavors to beautify Douglas. I also like to thank all who supported me in my recent endeavor, though I fell short coming in silver. I continue to serve my community by serving on the school board, and as Mayor Hewish has appointed me chairman, I will continue to serve on the finance committee as long as I'm needed. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. And thanks for serving. Next, we have Dr. Christine Gomez, please.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about the pickleball courts. Surprise, surprise. I decided to come and talk instead of going and playing. That's why I'm not dressed appropriately. I apologize. But I just wanted to let you know, we have on our app, we have 50 members right now. And so that's just who we reach daily with. But we're really enjoying the courts. I just want to bring up that there's been, I probably myself have called 4 times. I've had to call police officers because people are playing soccer on those courts. And I'm like, please, can you respectfully just read the sign? And these are adults with their kids, and not to mention, so the police have to come and get them off the courts. My concern is there's not any bite to violate. I don't know how you do that, or, at some point, right now, we showed up probably 3 weeks ago, and all the nets, 3 of the 4 nets were kids. I don't know who, we weren't there, swung on them. So you have that center strap that ties down the center strap. With pickleball, we play at 34 inches. At tennis, I don't know, it's a little bit more than that. Right now, there's a couple of courts that just have a straight, because they messed with the nets so much, they untied that screw that holds down. So they're not functional for us now. Nobody can, not even really a tennis player can play well with that. So we've only had them since November, and there's a lot of destruction that we've already seen on them. So we've brought up, I talked to Anna yesterday. We're like, we have dummy cameras we can put up there. But again, I think you're going to have to consider maybe some kind of, if these people are repeat offenders, so what are the consequences of your actions? And once it's destroyed, it's destroyed. We have nothing else to go play with. So, and it is one of those sports where we've got 70-year-olds out there playing. So we have young people and old people, and we all talk about how there's not so much for the older citizen of Douglas, but these pickleball courts, and it's a fast growing sport. I just want to keep those courts for as long as we can. And we need the lighting. I would respectfully, we're happy to have what we have, but our lights could be worked on as well. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. Can you take note of that, please? And Mr. Fitzgibbon, also, if you could take a look at the penalties that may be applicable in those type of situations for future consideration. So one question, Dr. Gomez, is pickleball becoming the new shuffleboard for older generation?
Sure is.
Yeah, my daughters keep telling me I need to. Thank you for the invite. Next, we have Ms. Alvina Hughes, please.
Hello, I'm Alvina Hughes, citizen of Douglas for many, many years, born and raised. And I'm here with a concern. I just saw on Facebook that taxes are being thought about being raised again to 13%. And I did not read the entire article, honestly, but once seeing that taxes may be raised, it brings up a lot of red flags for our community. I've worked in merch. I was a manager of a Kmart store, so I have a lot of experience with business. And right now, where we are sitting with like the 4th highest tax rate for Arizona. So my concern is that if we raise it, as it is, our people are shopping in Bisbee and Sierra Vista because we have not much to offer them when it comes to groceries and essentials. So an example of this is when on the weekends, honestly, I go to Bisbee and shop for my groceries. So my tax dollars are being invested into the community of Bisbee. So I'm just really concerned that if now we raise taxes on our people, that's just going to push us a little further. So just bringing up my concern for our city, all our tax money. And if you go and see, like when I leave on Saturday, I'm not just seeing people in Douglas, I'm seeing a lot of people from Mexico. And back in the day, that's where our tax monies was coming from. So I'm just a concern that I have for the citizens of Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hughes. And I don't know of any talk of raising taxes here. So we haven't heard of that. So rest assured, at least I don't see it happening. In fact, we've talked about the potential of lowering it, especially starting with, I'm sorry, I'm getting off subject, but yes, we're talking about lowering it versus increasing it. So please rest assured. Having no other requests from the public, we have a young lady that was unable to attend our last meeting when we presented a certificate of election by the name of Mrs. Dania Costa. I'd like to take the opportunity that now that she's here today to present her with this certificate of election as she has been elected to serve another 4 years representing Ward 3 for the city of Douglas. Congratulations. Item number 6, discussion decision on approval of consent agenda items. Item A, expenditures for the month of July 2024 totaling $3,214,590.60. Item B, meeting minutes for July 10, 2024. Item C, bid award to Shell, Bordermark, and Douglas Chevron to provide 24-hour gasoline/diesel service to the city of Douglas. And item D, Transportation Advisory Committee appointment of Maritza Nikitas or the Transportation Advisory Committee appointment. May I have a motion regarding the consent agenda, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Acosta to approve the consent agenda items as presented. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7, discussion decision on approvals of the following. Item A, second reading of ordinance number 24-1194. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the abandonment of a small portion of the city right of way located on Van Buren Avenue, beginning on the northeast corner of block 26, block 30 of the Foothills Edition, located along 15th Street and Van Buren Avenue, to Encarnacion and Nadia Denise Baez, husband and wife, pursuant to the abandonment agreement entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Gonzalez, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The city of Douglas sold assessor's parcel number 410-32121 to Mr. Encarnacion and Ms. Nadia Denise Baez for the eventual development of 2 single-family residential 12,000 square feet SFR 12 structures. The parcel as sold does not meet the square footage required to split into 2 parcels. During the negotiations for the sale of the parcel, staff met with Mr. and Mrs. Baez and told him that he would be able to split the parcel. However, the parcel does not meet the required square footage, and so we are requesting to abandon 2.5 feet in width by 207 feet in length of city right-of-way east of the Baez parcel to them. And this can be used to bring conformance to allow the development of 2 homes. The owner will be responsible to build out curbing and public sidewalk on the front-facing portion of the homes. No conflict exists in doing so, with the abandonment of approximately 517.5 square feet of right-of-way.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. May I have a motion regarding the second reading of the ordinance?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Acosta.
I move that the mayor and council approve the second reading ordinance 24-1194 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Acosta, second by Mr. Montaño to approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1194 by number and title only. Any questions or discussion, please? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7B. Second reading of discussion decision on second reading of ordinance number 24-1195. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona. Amending the city of Douglas Municipal Code Title III, Revenue and Finance, Chapter 3.12, Cemetery Fees, Section 3.12.060. Sale and purchase of interment rights to add a period of time for the purchase of a formerly occupied grave space before it reverts to the city. Establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Smith, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, staff, and members of the public. By background, exhumation is a process of digging up and removing a body from a grave. The current code provision of section 3.12.060G mandates that a grave space reverts to the city after it is vacated due to transfer or permanent exhumation. This procedure is carried out for various reasons, including legal investigation, relocating remains to another burial site, forensic examination, or cultural or religious beliefs. The current code provision would require a family to repurchase a plot after a permanent exhumation occurs. Tonight, the proposed amendment and its second reading would allow families to notify the city of their intention to retain the interment rights of a plot following the permanent exhumation of a previously occupied grave space before it reverts to the city. This amendment is designed to accommodate families who wish to retain the original grave space after transferring the remains, providing them with a clear timeframe and process for such transactions. This ensures the city's interests are protected while being considerate of family needs.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the second reading of the ordinance?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1195 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1195 by number and title only. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7C. Discussion decision on first reading of ordinance number 24-1196. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona. Amending the planning and zoning code, article 15, section 1502. Defined terms, article 5, section 501.7, property development standards, and section 516, innovative community overlay zones. And to add a new section, 326, article 3, tiny homes and tiny home parks. To add and clarify zoning requirements as they apply to tiny homes and tiny home parks. And to provide for minimum building sizes for principal uses in residential zoning of the planning and zoning code, article 5, section 501.7. As set forth in exhibit A, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. McLaughlin, please.
Thank you. And is there a presentation? And while that's coming up, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me again. I last appeared before the council at the July 12th meeting regarding a building code amendment for tiny homes. That was second reading of ordinance 24-1191. While that ordinance, which I'll discuss on the next slide, was approved, the council as well as planning commission expressed some reservations regarding the general placement and site development standards of tiny homes and tiny home parks. Regulations for these standards are typically included in the zoning regulations, not the building code. So I'm here tonight to discuss potential zoning amendments. Overall, the purpose of this amendment is to clarify requirements that are specific to tiny homes. This section is also intended to help accommodate innovative and sustainable housing options while ensuring compatibility with existing neighborhood character, infrastructure capabilities, and community needs. These regulations aim to promote affordable housing solutions, encourage efficient land use while maintaining standards for health, safety, and welfare. Again, this is a follow-up to Building Code Amendment 2402, which was a formal adoption of Appendix Q to the International Residential Code, which relaxed various requirements in the body of the IRC code as they apply to houses that are 400 square feet in area or less. Following the July meeting of the council and the adoption of the building code amendments, staff held a work session with the Planning and Zoning Commission. That was on July 16th. During this very productive meeting, we had a great discussion. We're able to gather the feedback needed to help formulate this amendment. The first thing I wanted to address are the most common different types of tiny homes. This was a question brought up by council during first and second reading. Douglas zoning defines a factory-built dwelling as a dwelling unit or habitable room thereof, which is wholly or in substantial part manufactured at an off-site location to be assembled on site. except it does not include a mobile home or recreational vehicle as defined. Both site-built and modular homes are built to building code, can receive a certificate of occupancy, and are typically considered to be equivalent and consequently allowed in the same residential zoning districts. The other two common types of tiny homes are park model and tiny homes on wheels. Park model homes are considered recreational vehicles. As such, they're typically taxed as personal property rather than real property. They are primarily designed for long-term or permanent placement at a destination where an RV or mobile home is allowed. An example is on the left-hand side of the slide. Finally, there's the towable tiny home on wheels, typically less than 8 feet 6 inches in width to allow for easier highway towing. The tiny home on wheels are meant only for temporary dwelling typically, are the most portable, and again, these are typically taxed as personal property. Here is the city zoning map. The yellowish color is residential zoning, which is where you'll find most single-family dwellings. The red area is mobile home. IP is gray hatched. LI is light industrial. That's also light gray. And here's a map of the innovative overlays. Yellow area is ICR. The orange area is ICMU. On this slide, I have a definition of single-family dwelling. Based on this definition, tiny homes are permitted in the districts I list under bullet 2. Tiny home parks are permitted in ICR and ICMU. Currently, there are no site development standards for tiny home parks, which is to be addressed by this amendment. This slide relates to park models and tiny homes on wheels. I provide a definition of an RV. RVs must be in an RV park, which are only allowed in MHR, IP, and LI with an approved conditional use. And there are supplemental standards for RV parks in the zoning regulations. As part of this amendment, we are recommending adding in definitions for tiny homes and tiny home parks, which are listed on this slide. It's also included in the exhibit for ordinance 24-1196. We recommend including design standards for tiny home parks. These vary by park size, which can range from 1 to 5 or more acres in size. Design standards limit density and prescribe setback and minimum common area requirements, as well as parking. If a park cannot meet any of these standards, for example, if a smaller footprint than 1 acre is proposed, it would be processed as a major conditional use. And here is where I further specify the approval process. Site-built or factory-built tiny homes are permitted in ICMU and ICR overlay districts as a principal or accessory dwelling unit. In other zoning districts, tiny homes are not permitted as principal units. Only as accessory dwelling units or ADUs, where ADUs are permitted. ADUs are processed either as minor or major conditional uses, depending on whether the structure meets site development standards within the conditional use application criteria. These structures are not required to be in a tiny home park. They can be on a single family lot. The park model and tiny home on wheels are required to be in a tiny home park. All RV parks are major conditional uses, and that's approved by public hearing. Final recommendation. We heard concerns from the commission and council regarding compatibility as it relates to square footage of homes. Based on those concerns, we added an additional row to table 501.7. The top 8 rows are already in the zoning regulations and have not been altered. The reason this table is included within this amendment is because the city doesn't have a minimum building size requirement for single family. Meaning theoretically, someone could construct a 200 square foot home within any zoning district as a principal use today. So far, everything I've discussed applies to tiny homes, which are now defined as structures 400 square feet or less. If this amendment were to pass without this addition, anything greater than 400 square feet could be permitted. With this addition, minimum home sizes could be no less than 800 square feet, which is small, but the goal was still to permit a range of housing types, including starter homes, but in a way that's not going to be incongruous with the greater neighborhood. The minimum increases to 1,000 square feet in SFR 12 and 16 and 1,200 square feet in SFR 32. So this was a quick overview, and I'm happy to return to any slide. There's a copy of the proposed strike-through and underlined version of the amendment included as an attachment to the ordinance Exhibit A. Text that is struck through will be deleted, underlined text is inserted. Staff recommends approval and the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously supported approval at their regular meeting on August 12th. That was a public hearing. And this concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. May I have a motion regarding the placement of the ordinance, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1196 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Acosta to approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1196 on its first reading by number and title only. Any questions or comments now?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Montano.
Ms. McLaughlin, would you go back to that, the slide where the map of the different overlays? Right there. So the orange sections is where these would be allowed? Is that
The
correct?
Yellow is ICR and the orange is ICMU,
So in both of those, it would be allowed.
potentially, yes.
Okay. That was my question.
Thank you, Mr. Montano. Anyone else?
Yeah, question.
Yes, please, Mr. Shelton.
Could you give us once again the sizes?
Sure.
How many square feet, please?
This table?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 4 main residential zoning districts. They range from SFR 6, which is 1 dwelling per 6,000 square feet, to SFR 32, 1 dwelling per 32,000 square feet. And what we proposed is a minimum building size of 800 square feet within SFR 6 and SFR 8, 1,000 square feet in SFR 12 and 16, and 1,200 square feet in SFR 32.
Okay, 800 square feet, it's not much of a house. Is this what the Planning and Zoning Committee recommended?
It was with both the Planning and Zoning Commission. They didn't prescribe exact amounts. It was also based on best practices standard. And again, the intent was not to discourage housing or development and to allow starter homes. Starter homes, you know, the historic ones in Bisbee, those mining, those tend to be 700 or 800 square feet. So the old historic little homes, that was their size. And so having a 6,000 square foot lot, it wouldn't look too out of place potentially. And that was kind of just the intent, not to discourage development, but at the same time, not to make it look
Yeah.
out of place.
What other communities are doing this?
Minimum building sizes aren't unusual. They're
I
pretty,
know
for
I've seen-
tiny homes.
I know
they're-
I've seen them on television. Yeah, you know, starter homes. Okay. Okay, and I'm well aware of the houses in Bisbee.
Mr. Shelton, I think the theme behind this is to make sure a tiny home doesn't go into one of these bigger lots.
Oh, yes,
And so
definitely. Oh, no.
That's the
Not at all.
reasoning behind it to do that. I mean, the only discussion that we may want to think about is, you know, Ms. McLaughlin mentioned 700 to 800, so I mean, that's some flex in there. And if somebody came into a SFR 6 area of town and wanted to build a 750 or 700, is there a variance possibility for them to be able to secure that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
just like any for setback or height, they could request a variance.
Thank you.
That helps.
Yes.
Shelton? Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for doing this. I think we're somewhat ahead of the curve and it's necessary because of the need that we see in housing. So I applaud the council for bringing this subject matter up and for staff for acting on it so quickly to bring it for us. So there's a motion on the floor to approve the placement of the ordinance number 24-1196 on its first reading by number and title only. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending the planning and zoning code, article 15, section 1502, defining terms, article 5, section 501.7, property development standards, and section 516, innovative community overlay zones, and to add a new section 326 in article 3, tiny homes and tiny home parks, to add and clarify zoning requirements as they apply to tiny homes and tiny home parks, and to provide for minimum building sizes for principal uses in residential zoning of the planning and zoning code, article 5, section 501.7, and set forth in exhibit A, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the approval of the first reading of the ordinance?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1196 and place it on its second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Montaño to approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1196 and place it on the second reading by number and title only. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
In ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending the planning and zoning code, article 15, section 1502, define terms, article 5, section 501.7, property development standards, and section 516, innovative community overlay zones, and to add a new section 326 in article 3, tiny homes and tiny home parks, to add and clarify zoning requirements as they apply to tiny homes and tiny home parks, and to provide for minimum building sizes for principal uses in residential zoning of the planning and zoning code, article 5, section 501.7, as set forth in exhibit A, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you very much. Item number 7D, discussion decision on first reading of ordinance number 24-1197. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona. Rezoning a 5.5 acre parcel of land within Geronimo Trail Estate Track C 5.371 AC from single family residential 12,000 rather, SFR 12 to multifamily residential MFR and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Gomez, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On July 16th, 2024, we had a P and Z meeting discussing the rezone of a parcel that is 5.5 acres, and I have a presentation for you guys. So it's zoning map amendment 2024-01. So we met on July 16th. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. The parcel number is 410-24-029. It's located on Geronimo Trails, north of Hohokam Drive. You might know it. It's north of our apartments, Sonora Vista, Sunray, Douglas Villas, and Pepperwood Tree Apartments. Currently, the parcel is empty. It does not have anything developed on there. It is currently zoned for single-family residential 12,000, and they are trying to convert it to multifamily residential. They are trying to replicate the current multifamily residential zoning that is located to the south. Here is what your map would look like if this were to be approved. It is the yellow parcel, currently zoned single family 12. And if it were to be changed, it would replicate zoning that it has to the south and to the west. These are some images our department took. There is nothing there. It is not developed. Here you can see some of the apartments to the south. And this rezoning does align with some of the policies in our general plan, specifically the mixed use of housing availability and services. It promotes residential development and diversity in housing type. It does have initiatives for diverse housing, including smaller, more affordable units, which comes in the form of apartments. Currently, the applicant is looking for either apartments or townhomes for rent. It also would provide affordable housing since apartments are required to have 15% affordable housing of however many units they do provide. And this would help with our current housing situation here in the city. It would also align with promoting the existing housing stock. So we do have single family 12 in the area, but it does have that precedent of having units to the south and to the west. And staff would recommend approval for the rezone of Novoa District's map amendment from single family 12 to multifamily residential. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. May I have a motion regarding the placement of the ordinance, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1197 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1197 on its first reading by number and title only. Questions or comments, please?
Mayor?
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I'm happy to see that we're, living up to what we've been promising as far as, being flexible and business friendly, especially to, someone who wants to come in and, develop some multifamily housing units. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Acosta. Well said. Anyone else? Ms. Gomez, would this also carry any of our overlay designations in this, or would it?
This is not in an overlay, unfortunately. So it did have to be a rezone. But as I mentioned, it does carry some precedent. There are 4 apartment complexes to the south directly. And to the west, there's also more apartments, and there is also multifamily mobile home residential, SFR 12, if I can go back on the map really quick. Here we go. So this area, if this were to pass, it would have that use of mixed housing availability. There's general commercial to the north. There is multifamily residential purple, and the red is the mobile home zoning.
Thank you. Also, as police and fire also had an opportunity to weigh in on what this would be as far as the density of this area.
Yes, there was concerns not from the public on the day of July 16th. Their concerns were construction with scorpions coming out from the construction, and that's typical. We live in the desert. There were concerns from the public with the apartments being there and increase in traffic through that street, since it is where the other apartments go in through their parking lot.
Okay, so police and fire have looked at this and
Not
offered any
fire.
suggestion? Not fire?
Mayor, we can make sure that we have that law enforcement input for a second reading.
Excellent. I agree 100% with Mrs. Acosta that this is exciting to be able to offer these options, but just want to make sure we're all on the same page, that we don't create a headache that we don't want down the road. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning a 5.5 acre parcel of land within Geronimo Trail Estate, tract C 5.371 AC, from single family residential 12,000 SFR 12 to multifamily residential MFR, and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the approval of the first reading?
Mayor,
Mrs. Acosta, please.
I move that mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1197 and place it on its second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Montaño to approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1197 and to place it on its second reading by number and title only. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning 5.5 acre parcel of land within Geronimo Trail Estate, tract C 5.371 AC, from single family residential 12,000 SFR 12 to multifamily residential MFR, and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 7E, discussion decision on first reading of ordinance number 24-1198. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, to undertake a departmental reorganization affecting the police department, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Garcia, for those please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. With this reorganization of the police department, we are asking for a creation of an animal shelter coordinator classification and for a change in the reporting structure for the animal control officers to this coordinator position instead of the operations lieutenant. The reason for this is that next month, Mayor and Council will be considering a resolution to accept a grant agreement with Best Friends Animal Society. And the Best Friends Animal Society has a grant-funded shelter and bed program that allows for a Best Friends employee to be embedded into our animal shelter or into shelters throughout the nation. And the goal for the program is to increase live outcomes for the shelter animals to about 90% and ultimately reduce the number of animals that get euthanized. So it is the intent of the city for this animal shelter coordinator to be trained directly by the embed program employee to be able to continue with the programs established once the embed grant ceases or finalizes.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the placement of the ordinance?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Shelton.
I move the mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1198 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Morales to approve the first reading, approve the placement of the ordinance number 24-1198 on its first reading by number and title only. Any questions or comments? Any other? Thank
Yeah.
you. Oh, please,
Yeah,
Mr. Shelton.
yes, one comment. Thank you for arranging that. So, because things have been sort of the same since who knows what date. We go back 60s, 70s, 80s, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Montaño.
I just wanted to comment, I think this is the adding the coordinator to the animal shelter is a great idea, just because things in the recent past have we've had some issues. And I think from my understanding is that this coordinator will be kind of like a supervisor for the other employees. So I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Mr. Montaño. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Ventura Acosta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries.
notice of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, to undertake a departmental reorganization affecting the police department, establishing Sarah Vida components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the approval of the first reading of the ordinance?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Shelton, please.
I move the mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1198 and place it on its second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Morales to approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1198 and place it on its second reading by number and title only. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Montaño.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Ventura Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries.
an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, to undertake a departmental reorganization affecting the police department, establishing several legal components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 7F, discussing decision on resolution number 24-1613. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the execution of a lease agreement between the city of Douglas and PNC Equipment Finance LLC regarding a new lease agreement for the purpose of leasing 25 golf carts and a hauler vehicle. Mr. Martinez, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The Douglas Public Facility Municipal Property Corporation, also known as MPC, which manages the city golf course, plans to replace its current fleet of 25 golf carts, which were acquired in October of 2019. Upon the lease expiration, which already happened on June 2024, the MPC seeks to upgrade to newer models that offer enhanced performance. Staff recommends approving the proposed lease for 25 new golf carts and one hauler vehicle. These costs have already been budgeted. Since the MPC lacks a credit or revenue stream to secure the debt, there is a need for the city's assistance in obtaining financing on their behalf. Delivery of these units is approximately 6 to 10 weeks after lease execution.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Shelton.
I move the mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1613.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mr. Montaño to approve resolution number 24-1613. Any questions or comments, please?
Mayor.
Yes, please, Mrs. Costa. Morales.
I just-
Sorry, I either have really good hearing or really bad. One or the other. I'll go with the good.
No, I just wanted to ask Mr. Martinez to, this is a 5-year lease and I asked earlier about a hauler vehicle. Can you explain what a hauler vehicle is?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Morales, it is 25 new units. The hauler vehicle, I will defer to somebody who actually, Mr. Pedrosa, to explain. I'm not a golfer, so I'm not out there.
The hauler vehicle is a little tractor with a little tailgate or gate in the back, and it dumps out. So it's used for maintenance. It's not like to pull anything. It's just to haul stuff. So it's for maintenance.
Thank you for pinch hitting. And it is a 5-year lease, a new 5-year lease.
Thank you.
So that's not to be confused with the hauler vehicle that when Mr. Selchow misses a putt on the 9th green that he falls over and we have to haul him back to the clubhouse.
It's called never mind.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Costa.
I think, I know we're already spending money at, for the golf course, but, I just go back to just wanting to know what the profit loss is on running the, golf course, and I'd really like to see if MPC can't obtain credit or produce revenue with this, golf course, then maybe we need to look at other options. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Costa. If that could be a presentation at our upcoming meeting, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7G, discussing decision on resolution number 24-1614. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, granting a utility easement to Arizona Public Service for the construction of solar panel parking structures at the city of Douglas City Hall through the Solar Communities Program, Solar Communities Program. Ms. Villalobos, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The city of Douglas applied to the APS Solar Communities Program in May of 2022. This program was developed to ensure the availability of solar to limited and moderate income customers. The APS Solar Communities Program is open to customers that serve limited income populations, including Title I schools, nonprofits, and rural governments. The city of Douglas is committed to increasing the quality of life for its residents. The APS Solar Community Program is a sustainable initiative that will generate solar power for the sites selected. And these sites are the golf course. And that's parcel number 41008001. I'm sorry, am I presenting on City Hall? Sorry, City Hall. That's 4090772. APS will install steel-covered parking structures with solar panels on top to produce power that will be fed back to the APS power grid. APS will own, maintain, and operate the system for the 20-year term. During this term, APS will provide a monthly bill credit to the customer of record's electric bill at the designated site equal to $2.50 per kilowatt. And that's dependent on the system size. The agreement needs to be executed by both the customer of record and the property owner, if different from the customer of record. Prior to construction beginning, APS will need the owner of the land and or property to sign an easement for access for solar installation. I can take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Villalobos. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Costa.
I move that the mayor and council approve the resolution number 24-1614.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Costa, second by Mr. Shelton to approve resolution number 24-1614. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7H, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1615. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, granting a utility easement to Arizona Public Service, APS, for the construction of solar panel parking structures at Douglas Municipal Golf Course through the Solar Communities Program, similar to the first item, but anything else to add? Ms. Villalobos?
Just a change in the parcel number.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the resolution?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1615.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve resolution number 24-1615. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7I, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1616. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, adopting the community services master plan. Smith, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, staff and members of the public. Officially kicked off in November of 2022, A series of internal and external meetings were held, gathering input from various community stakeholders, which included sports leagues, clinics, school personnel, government agency, business owners, senior and youth advocates, frequent facility or amenity users, and city staff. On March 1st of 2023, the first in-public meeting was held at the Douglas Visitor Center, allowing the public to provide feedback regarding the development of the master plan. Throughout spring and summer of 2023, a statistically valid survey was conducted citywide to understand the community needs through a data-driven approach. What I wanted to mention is that type of approach was important because it wasn't necessarily who you know. It was trying to capture people furthest from the bullseye, people that you don't typically see using your amenities and people that we don't necessarily hear at City Hall. This survey was administered by mail, online, and by phone in English and Spanish. Additionally, a survey was also made available to community-wide for anybody who didn't get a chance to provide their input to provide it on this community engagement survey. The results of the survey were presented to Mayor and Council during the September 27th, 2023 council meeting. And if you recall, the final draft of the master plan was presented to Mayor and Council on February 28th, 2024. The final master plan deliverables encompass the current state of our parks, future goals, strategies to achieve these objectives. In your packet, you'll find the master plan matrix, which will highlight the goals and strategies for each objective, and the plan's findings outline the facility assessment, analysis of current programs and maintenance operations, and current level of service offered to the Douglas community. The strategic action plan includes recommendations for park development and improvement, operational management and strategies to better help our staff manage their areas, and both short-term and long-term plans for programs and service development and maintenance. Staff is recommending approval, and just for the record, there was some stuff that's already been implemented as a result of this master plan. We have worked on the 8th Street renovation project and programs like implementing. If you've reviewed the master plan, they talk about different types of programming that meet the high priority areas like water aerobics. We've tried for many years to implement that, and more recently it's become popular and high impact for the program. Pickleball is another one of those amenities that we've added. Airport park improvements. There's a item on golf planning, and that's already underway. We're looking at park expansion. So a study like this helps us pursue the state national parks for funding. We had a meeting with them last week, so we're exploring options for extra expansion east of Airport Park. And staff is recommending approval.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Costa.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1616.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Costa, second by Mr. Montano to approve resolution number 24-1616. Any questions or comments, please? Thank you for all this effort. I know it's been going on for a while, but it's exciting to have a vision for the future. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Victor Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7J, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1617, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, adopting the policy and procedure for the public-private partnership program for City of Douglas new development street improvements. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Elise Moore, our Public Works Director, couldn't make it today. She's in training. The purpose of this policy, as stated in the title, is a public-private partnership for development of new street improvements. It would establish criteria and procedures for the construction of new streets through a partnership with developers. where no streets are existent. Basically setting those, criteria where the city could assist new developers that are wishing to build new homes and are as required to build out the streets and infrastructure as well. When building those new homes, the city can come in and partner with them and help them build out those streets by only charging the material costs, not charging the labor or equipment costs. So this policy was, there's a couple of developers are already interested in taking advantage of this policy, in participating to, at least they've shown interest in developing new homes, new infill within the city limits. Again, the criteria there, we also have to follow state law. When exercising this policy, we cannot exceed over what we calculated $279,000, and that's based on the CPI, the current CPI index that was established since I believe it was in the 1990s. The limit was 150,000, but it grows with the CPI index. So current limit is about 279,000 that we could assist in these projects. Again, this is basically for new development, existing development. That's the city. We take care of those through the HERF funds. But this is an incentive for those developers looking to bring in new homes where it's not developed or underdeveloped with street infrastructure. The city can certainly provide assistance that way. There is also criteria to establish right-of-way if it doesn't exist in underdeveloped areas. The right-of-way would need to be conveyed to the city in order for the city to come in and be able to do the work and potentially own the street after the work is performed. With that, I'll pass it over or any questions, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1617.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to approve resolution number 24-1617. Any questions or comments, please?
Mayor?
Yes,
What?
please, Mrs. Acosta.
Yes, first question that comes to mind is how are we going to determine what we charge developers for materials? Is it based on current costs or how are we going to determine that and make it a fair market price, I guess?
Yes, Ms. Acosta, the policy dictates that first, Public Works Department will make a feasibility analysis of the project and project those costs out based on existing costs that the city would incur with local providers for the rock material, for the asphalt to be produced. So we would charge cost for those materials.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Acosta. Mr. Shelton,
I was going to ask the same question.
in that case,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Acosta and Mr. Shelton. No question. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Montaño.
Mr. Pedrosa, just to clarify, this is not for residents that want their street fixed or any of that stuff. That still falls on the city, right? This is only for new developments, for developers coming in. For example, the apartments north of Geronimo Trail, that type of stuff. That's correct, right?
That is correct, Mr. Montaño. Right. Only new development.
Thank you, Mr. Montaño, for that question and clarification. A question on the $279,000, is that per project? Or how do you define that?
Yes, Mayor, it's per project. And also the criteria in the policy is that you have to do a project that has to have adjoining streets. You can certainly go east, west, and then north, but they have to be adjoining, and that would constitute a project. So it just has to be per project, no more than $279,000.
Excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Anyone else?
Mr. If I may, I do have
Yes.
two members of the
Oh,
public who would
wonderful.
like to speak on this item.
Yeah, wonderful. Great. Fantastic. Thank you very much. First one, Mayor-elect Jose Grijalva, please.
Jose Grijalva, 1221 Street, Mayor and Council. I want to read the executive summary. The city staff was asked to look to the program to allow for collaboration with local property owners on the development of new street improvements in the community. You cannot improve something that doesn't exist. That's one point I want to make. Then it mentions the citizens pay program. As a councilman for 6 years, I've been, in discussions with staff, and when you pass something that allows you to do something later, staff will do it. An example, entertainment tax. Or the entertainment district. We passed that because there was a bar that needed to set up with the liquor license that wasn't allowed to unless that was passed. Then staff says, well, why do we want to not tax them? Now we can tax them with an entertainment tax. You can't leave that open. The city got a grant for millions of dollars for infrastructure. There should be an asphalt plant. There should be more workers. We should be incentivizing and the city doing these things for businesses to come. We have a community around the House of Hope and 20th Street and 23rd Street, that's county. They want to be part of the city. They wanted to be annexed. They weren't annexed because they're already developed and the city doesn't want to put in the road. We're losing property tax and we're losing census money. Now, if I'm going to set up at the port of entry and I'm hearing this, well, I'd rather just buy the property now and develop and then tell the city, well, if you want me to be part of the city, you're going to have to build the road. You're not allowing them to do it with this. And the problem that the city's going to have is we're going to miss out on property tax. We're going to miss out on sales tax. That property tax is going to go to Bisbee. That sales tax is going to go to the county. We're not going to get anything. We need to incentivize. We need to be proactive, business friendly. Let's get in front of the curve. Let's not leave little loopholes open where it says, well, property owners, and then, if you allow staff respectfully to have an inch on one of these things, they will take a foot. I've been there. I've had discussions with them. I know it means well for the city government, but it doesn't necessarily mean well for the city constituents and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Ms. Christine Gomez.
So when I read this on the internet, on the background, it says curb, gutter, and sidewalk, and you did say existing. So I understand the development part, but you also said existing. So could you come into a neighborhood like where my parents live, and they've always maintained on 12th and Madison, that side area where you could put realistically a sidewalk? Would that be something that the property owner would have to pay for, even though they've been maintaining this for the city and watering the trees and the plants, which lots of people out east of town have done for years? We know the people out by the Mormon church that have invested quite a bit of money in their landscaping, where you could have where you would put a sidewalk, especially even by my parents, especially because of the schools and the kids, you would rather them walk on a sidewalk. So I don't quite understand, is it truly for development, or could you just come and say, hey, Gomez, we need a sidewalk here for the safety of our kids, and will the property owner have to pay for that? That would be my concern. Have you thought about all those things? And like I said, I know some people, I've had that discussion with people about their neighbors wanting a sidewalk. And they're like, do you know how much I paid for the landscaping? Just drive up on those streets up on 15th Street. And some of those people with the beautiful cacti, I don't know. I would be really angry if you told me to rip out my $1,000 stuff and then make me pay. Is that what it's asking me to do? Help pay for this sidewalk?
Thank you, Dr. Gomez, and I think we're talking two separate things, so I'll allow staff to explain that. Please. Yeah.
So I can
Clarify.
start. Yes, thank you for the inquiries and the observations. I think Mr. Pedrosa can take a deeper dive on some of those specifics, but this clearly should state the memo could have been clearer in that the citizen pay policy is a comparator to this new policy for the street program. Should be a similar policy. It was referencing that as the program that we brought a few months back, maybe 3 or 4 months back, at the request of citizens that realize we haven't been able to evolve some of their curbs and sidewalks, and completely making it optional if they want to develop that and purchase the materials that the city could schedule in to do some of that work. And that's bringing back a former program that we had successfully run many, many years ago, but then staff shortages and other constraints kind of made that go away. So we were trying to bring it back as an incentive at the request of some citizens to help the city, help them move along some of their private areas. This street program is a similar program. However, it's focused on developers trying to incentivize them to develop areas that they own for adding more homes to the community. So trying to also work with them, limit some of their constraints. We have statute limitations. We're not competing with huge private entities that could come in and build roads. But in smaller cases, as Mr. Pedrosa mentioned, there are some not to exceed amounts on some of these projects to allow us to assist a developer in a small neighborhood continue to carry development. So 2 different things, and we can clarify some of the landscaping that's already been done in areas where we don't have sidewalks. If you have anything, Mr. Pedrosa, on that, this would not provide any limitations to anything there. This is completely, and I'm talking about the citizen pay program, optional for a community member to maybe help protect some of the investment, is what I'm thinking. I don't know if we've had other options or other uses.
Mr. Pedrosa, you want to add
Thank
anything?
you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Quijo. Yeah, I agree. The memo could have been a lot clearer there. If you read the policy, that's where the meat of this whole policy is written there. So yes, 2 different things. The Citizens Pay Program was for curbing and gutter. That it's really a different thing. The Citizens Pay Program for curb, gutter, and sidewalk was written because we know we have a lot of needs out there that the city is either not able to address because we don't have the resources, enough people to get out there to build those things and or funds to build. And we said, whoever wants to be a part and say, I want sidewalk, and be a part of it and say, I'm willing to pay for it, we can certainly put you on this program to be able to get there sooner rather than later, if you're willing to. Not a mandatory program whatsoever. It's just another avenue that citizens can say, you know, I have this option available to me. I would pay for the materials and the city would cover the labor. Today, we're talking about the public-private partnership with new development. So I think there was an example of existing homes. Wherever if there were existing homes and there's a street there, it's the city's under the city's purview to maintain that street. Whenever new development comes in, the citizens would not pay for that new development in that street, right? It's the new development that pays for that street, but this program would incentivize development to come and partner with the city to be able to develop those streets at a lesser cost by the city furnishing the labor and the equipment, while the developer, rightfully so, pays for those materials to develop those properties and make money off of it. Thereafter, the streets become the city streets, the city's responsibility to keep maintaining with city funds. Therefore, it just becomes part of the city's inventory for continued maintenance thereafter.
Thank you, staff. And to answer directly, Dr. Gomez, no, it's not to go and tell your dad or anybody else to say, we're building a sidewalk, by the way, you owe us. Anything, that's not what this, specifically, that's not what this is, and it's also not what the citizen pay program is all about too. It's for whatever reason, if your dad decided that he wanted to put a sidewalk in, they say, hey, we can work with you and we can help install it, you pay for the materials, we do it. But it's, no, it's not telling people that they have to have.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes,
one more point of clarification that may help. I think also as I'm reading this, local property owners in this context is a developer. They do own those properties. They own the parcels. They're trying to develop them to build new homes and sell them. But as Mr. Pedrosa stated, the actual policy itself clarifies that as well.
If I can, Mayor, one more thing, as an example, because of the developer that was interested, it could be a block that has 5 different property owners. It is up to whoever wants to develop that to get with those property owners and say, hey, you know, let's get together, develop a street, enter into this program, and we can split the cost and we have improved property. That tends to work very well it tends to minimize the cost for the property owners. But it also works not just on those different property owners. It could work on a developer owning the entire piece of land, the entire tract of land, and saying, hey, I wanna work with the city and be able to develop all these homes and enter into this program and develop the street.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shelton, please.
Also, I've noticed many times driving around, looking at things, a lot of people have even gone past their boundaries, and they, put grass or trees or whatever there. And people have to realize a lot of times that's city property, and I don't know if they know it or not. So that's something they have to
Thank you, Mr. Shelton.
look at.
Anyone else?
Mayor?
Yes, please.
I just have a question as far as the recuperating or charging these fees. How is that gonna happen? Is that at the permitting stage, or how, like, what is that process? And I'm sorry if it's in the policy and I haven't read it all.
Good question.
And I'm trying to refresh my memory here. But during the feasibility, it is the city that will provide that, as I mentioned, that estimate. And I want to say that it has to be upfront, the cost of those materials.
I appreciate Mrs. Costa's question, and if it's not upfront, it needs to be upfront. In one man's opinion.
That's correct. I just confirmed it has to be upfront.
Did that answer the
Yes,
question?
thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yeah, one more comment.
Oh, yes, please, Mr. Shelton.
I know we are in the process either now or very shortly, getting an asphalt plant. So.
And Mr. Mayor, just to add, that is also a reason for this program is having reliable asphalt plant can certainly get us into these type of partnerships. So it gets us into a better position to be able to do more projects.
Thank you. I appreciate the innovative nature of this to be able to attract and facilitate business and especially housing homes there. Thank you. Anyone else? Leslie?
One more question.
Yes, please, go ahead, Mrs. Costa.
Being that we have various projects going on in the city at the same time, how are we going to prioritize or balance those projects? You know, adding one more, I guess, scope of work to our laborers.
It's a very good question, Ms. Acosta. The policy also talks about prioritizing, putting it on a list, and the Public Works Director basically prioritizing the existing projects. With these projects, has to be during paving season, obviously. It makes sense if we have equipment nearby. Lots of circumstances that the Public Works Director's criteria will take, will take effect there to be able to make those decisions and set that criteria.
Okay, thank you.
And Mayor, also,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta, there is a provision for the engineer, Public Works Director to give the department a full year from the time of payment to be able to schedule those in because of those types of situations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? And I appreciate the public input on this item. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7K, discussing decision on resolution number 24-1618, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of a proposed scope of work and approve a single contract award to Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. For 100% detailed engineering, water, wastewater, and broadband design, ADQ and ADOT, permitting bid and contractor selection support and construction management, SR 80, between Cochise College and North Copper Avenue to serve the proposed Douglas westward expansion area in the amount of $1,735,000. $1,735,536.87. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, the city is working with its partners to extend the necessary infrastructure of water, wastewater, and broadband utilities out to the west for the construction of the new port of entry. As you know, the 30% design of that westward expansion was completed via the assistance of the county in October 2022. The 60% design is currently underway for the entire corridor. The design of the SR 80 between Cochise College and North Copper Avenue will proceed to the 100% level ahead of the connector road area, which is James Trench Road. Currently, that's the projected site of the connector road. We cannot design that section at this juncture because ADOT needs to acquire that right of way. So this project basically breaks up this the entire westward expansion area into different sections where we're able to advance this project. Therefore, right now, SR 80 is the perfect open area that we have the ability to work with our ADOT partners in that right of way there alongside the SR 80 corridor. As mentioned, it covers 100% design. It includes water, wastewater, broadband conduit. It also includes a pump station that would pump water over to the new well site from the city system. Basically, we could also pull water from the new well that's going to be dug in near Cochise College. So we would have another water source to bring into the city as well as to feed the new port of entry. Yeah, it is expected that the design, if approved, would finish somewhere around the December time period. And we could certainly start bidding out the project thereafter, at least that phase of the project. there's different phases. You will see lots of different phases of this project being broken up because of, again, certain circumstances, working with the conditions that we have. We also have to bring the well, we also have to bring the tanks. We also have to bring the crossing of Whitewater Draw. That's a complicated area because it's waters of the US and it requires special permitting. So this excludes all of those different phases that will later come to mayor and council. But certainly we are interested in advancing this project. We have funds from ARPA that would award in the amount of $8.9 million that need to be expended by the end of 2026. Therefore, we want to make sure that those funds get expended before that period of time. We also have the opportunity to partner with Cochise County, who also wants to provide some of their ARPA monies. We're possibly talking $5 million to go towards this project. They have the same deadline to expend these funds. This project and this timeline ensures that it would be finalized before that time. So definitely want to make sure that we're managing those grant funds in accordance to the different projects and different phases that we have. The other thing to mention is that in its entirety, we are looking at about $28 million of the entire cost for the infrastructure. Mayor and council knows we have secured about half of that as of today. And certainly we have many different avenues that we have that we are seeking to get the rest of the funds. The 100% design, again, it includes it all the way to Cochise College. And basically that scope of work, as I mentioned, is anticipated to be completed by December 16 of 2026. Besides the $8.9 million ARPA funds, we will also be using $500,000 for this design from the NADBank grant that we've also obtained. So there's different grants at play for this particular project. That being said, Mr. Mayor, happy to answer any questions.
One thing to add, Mayor, I'm sorry. If I may add just to the $8.9 million, just to add our pledge by the state of Arizona ARPA funds.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion regarding the resolution, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr.
I make,
Shelton.
okay, I move the mayor and council approve resolution number 24 dash. Okay, I gotta put my glasses on, 1620.
1618.
Oh, 16, okay, I'm sorry, 1618.
I heard him, 1618.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by
Never
Mr.
should've
Shelton,
had
second by Mr. Acosta to approve resolution number 24-1618. Any questions or comments or discussion, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please.
so Mr. Pedrosa, when did you say the ARPA funds have to be spent by?
Mr. Montaño, Mr. Mayor, by December 31, 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? This is exciting. The progress keeps going, so appreciate that. And just we have public information, staff meets every 3 weeks with the entire commercial port of entry and remodeling of the existing port of entry technical staff to make sure these projects are online and make sure they're moving forward. And I appreciate that, and it's great to see the progress. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes,
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7L, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1620. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, ratifying and granting a utility easement to Arizona Public Service Company for installation and maintenance of electric lines together with the appurtenant facilities and fixtures over part of the city-owned parcel number 408-34-008B to service a temporary well site and the new commercial port of entry, and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Mayor, another port of entry item important to the progress of this project. As you know, the city's donating the 80-acre parcel adjacent to James Ranch Road. The city also owns a 5-acre parcel just east of that parcel. That's where the city has completed the temporary well site, which will provide water for the construction of the new commercial port of entry. We have actually placed solar panels to power that well, but we also need electrical support from APS to connect that well. As part of our agreement to donate the 80 acres to GSA, we are also required to partner with APS and help bring the power down to the site. APS will be absorbing the cost of doing that. Their path is to bring it from Kings Highway, take it west down International Road, and basically through our 5-acre parcel and up to the 80-acre parcel there to deliver the temporary power, they call it, for the construction of the new port of entry. This resolution before you is to basically grant APS the easement over the 5-acre parcel to run those poles, run that electrical infrastructure through our parcel, and in order to reach its destination of the 80-acre parcel for the port of entry. APS has indicated to us after the easements are received, which let me back up. There's two other properties that they have to obtain easements from. That one of them is a U.S. Fish and Wildlife parcel owned by the federal government, and also a Cochise County parcel that they also need to obtain easements from them. Soon as easements from those three parties, including us, are obtained, APS has says that they could schedule work anywhere between 1 to 3 months, and the work to install those poles would be about 3 to 4 weeks. With that, Mayor, I would take any questions.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1620.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve resolution number 24-1620. Any questions or comments? Exciting stuff. Once again. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8, discussion decision to call for and conduct an executive session for the following items. Item A, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsection A3, 4, and 7, to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the purchase, sale, or lease of real property located at Rancho La Peria Estates, blocks 3 and 4. Item B, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsections A3, 4, and 7, to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the donation of real property with parcel number 409-06-018E located at 1233 North G Avenue. Item C, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsections A3, 4, and 7, to consider its position, instruct its representative, and obtain legal advice regarding the land donation of real property with parcel number 409-06-018E located west of Pan American Avenue on 9th Street. Item D, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsections A3, 4, and 7, to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the possible purchase or lease of real property with parcel number 409-12-096 located at 727 F Avenue. And item E, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsections A3, 4, and 7, to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the possible land donation of real property located at 714 Second Street. May I have a motion to enter into executive session, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Shelton.
I recommend we go into executive session.
Second.
Ms. Morales, second. Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Ms. Morales to enter into executive session to discuss items A through E as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. We enter into executive session at 7:35 PM.
Shelton's gonna meet us in Dallas County in a second. Okay. No, I was.
Lita. Yeah. Oh. It's freezing. May I have a motion to adjourn the executive session, please?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mr. Morales to adjourn our executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We we adjourn executive session at 8:29 PM. Item 9, executive session update. Item E, regarding the real property located at Rancho La Parrilla Estates, blocks 3 and 4. We instructed staff to continue negotiations on the sale of block four, thank you, excuse me, block 4. Item B, regarding the donation of real property located at 1233 North G Avenue. And I apologize, in our agenda, the parcel number was incorrect, but the address is correct. So 1233 North G Avenue, we instruct the staff to acquire more information regarding the property. Item number C, regarding land donation of real property with parcel number 409-06-018E located west of Pan American Avenue on 9th Street to proceed with the land donation acceptance. Item D, regarding real property with parcel number 409-12-096 located at 727 F Avenue. We've instructed staff to thank the property owner for their desire to request it, but not at this time. And item E, regarding the land donation of real property located at 714 2nd Street, also there was not an interest on the council at this time for that donation. Item number 10, city manager reports. Mr. Fico, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council and members of the community. I'd just like to report, as I do, community calendar events. We have lots going on at the library and recreation and aquatics. I'll be brief and I'll go quickly just with some of the quick titles and dates. Paint night for adults, August 23rd at 5 PM. These are all library events. First fall meeting of the Douglas Chess Club, August 27th, 3:30. And the DPL Book Club, August 28th at 6 PM to discuss The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Also, library continues to do really well with their LSTA grant request. Recently received $10,000 for telehealth, telemedicine library grant to create telehealth access points on site. They've also been working very hard with IT to upgrade their computer lab, and that project is complete with 23 new machines and faster print service installation. And they will begin mid-September offering free after-school tutoring services with students from Cochise College. So great partnership there, and that's for elementary, middle school students who need help with math, science, reading, and writing assignments. Movie in the Park under the recreation and aquatic sections. This Friday, August 16th, featuring Kung Fu Panda 4. Night swim scheduled every Friday until August 30th, 6:30 to 8:30. Perfect for families and friends to enjoy an evening of swimming at our municipal pool. And then, of course, open swim scheduled every Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 5 at the municipal pool. Fire department would like to invite everyone to their 9/11 memorial ceremony. It'll be held Wednesday, September 11th at 9 AM at the Douglas Fire Department grounds. I wanted to also report at last month's council meeting, I was asked to bring information to council on a potential mausoleum or columbarium at the cemetery. And I am reporting on a preliminary basis and concepts that we're looking at. We have a columbarium, just for the record. It's a permanent structure designed with built-in vaults or spaces for cremated remains. A mausoleum is typically full body casket storage. So we are looking at a columbarium concept. We have met with staff internally. We're trying to figure out costs associated with the construction of a columbarium and also trying to come up with business models to come back to council in the future with an ordinance, which is what would be required. We have seen that columbariums require less space than traditional burial plots, allowing for better use of cemetery land, and they're growing in popularity nationwide. So we have that project under preliminary review, and we will bring more as that evolves. That's it for my presentation.
Thank you, Mrs. Urquijo.
Report.
Great information on the purpose of that community. Item number 11, informational items and reports from council on future agenda item requests. Mrs. Morales, please.
Mayor, I have a constituent that lives on Fifth Street in Pan American. Her house got flooded, and she just wanted me to thank the city workers and name them by name, Eddie, Luis, and Mario, for helping her. They really helped her get the sandbags up to stop a lot of the flooding in her house. So she's just very appreciative of all the help they gave her.
That's
That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. Anyone else? Hearing none, item number 12, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move to adjourn our meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to adjourn our regular meeting of the Douglas City Council, August 14th, 2024. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 8:36 p.m.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.